there's a huge benefit in writing and producing for other people. I'm pretty sure you may feel that way as well, but it allows me to go to places that I wouldn't go for myself.
It's really more comfy to, mostly for me, I write somebody's lyrics or the melodies for other artists, not as many as you, but it feels like, it gives me another avatars and characters.
Yes.
Yes. So when it comes to me, it's a complex, and it always comes with the pain, to confess. But it's still the most important part for me.
I can relate to that. I think the pain part for me is probably the fun part, because that's like some of the most vivid paint that we can use as artists.
I was wondering the creative process, how it's different for you yourself, songs you made for the others, like the singers or the rappers, or like clips, grinding, of course.
So when an artist walks in, they ask for something.
Like a track or idea?
They'll say, I just want something hard, or I want something darker, or I want, something that's like for the club, like,
banger.
You know what I'm saying? A banger, like. And so I'm considering what they're looking for, but I'm also thinking about like the texture of their voice and the patterns and the melodies that they do usually. Then I think about how I can give them something very different than they've ever done before. You got to hear a different side. That's my favorite part of writing and producing for others.
I'm not sure if you remember it or not, but we've met at
of course,
Billboard Music Awards.
Yes, of
in
course.
2018.
Yeah,
do you remember?
We took a photo.
We took a photo together.
I wanted to work then, but I didn't want to be aggressive. So I was like, let's just take a photo. But
you were nice.
But I really wanted to. I was like, yo, let's leave. I think we took a photo backstage.
Yeah, backstage in your room, actually.
Yeah. You know what? Let me correct this, because I don't want your fan base to be mad at me using this kind of language. But man, I was like, I wanted to be like, listen, let's leave here right now and go make some great music, because I just loved everything that you guys were doing. I love your energy, and I love what it is that you represent. At such a time when, our Asian brothers and sisters, people don't realize is like when you have, literally, hundreds of millions of fans, and you encounter them, 20 and 50 and 100,000 at a time.
You can't notice a single face, It's just a mass.
It's
MAS. That's not a.
It's a mass.
It's a mass,
and it is a massive voice, and it is a massive, using that word mass. It is a massive energy coming at you, and you say jump,
and then they jump,
and you sing, and they sing every word,
right?
And that you can feel through their voices that so many of their lives have been affected and changed because of something that you've done.
That's what
I don't know how you do that, because I've had a couple songs do that, and then when I get out there and go sing it, that would make me cry, because it was too much of a responsibility. Every time I get that close to that size and what I do as a musician, I always step back.
Oh, why? It's like, is it too heavy?
It's too heavy, man.
Too much?
It's too much of a responsibility. That's why I really revere people like yourself and your band members and other artists like B and J, and like, man, what y'all go out there and go face every night on that stage. It is humbling, and it's overwhelming, and sometimes your nervous system got to be built for that.
Of course.
Let me ask you this: how do you deal after you come off the stage feeling electrified and shocked every night? How do you decompress, or do you decompress, or do you purge? Like, how do you do that?
My first performing was in front of like 10 people in some small clubs when I was like 15.
Okay.
And I forgot most of the lyrics. So at that time, I just realized that, I'm not a star type. I'm not a like these like a front man and could enjoy all this shit and just, it's like Kurt Cobain or Mick Jagger. I'm not that type of, I'm just a human just who loves writing music and just, the energy. So, like, for example, we had these stadium shows in Las Vegas last April. Yeah. It was 4, but like every night is a challenge. It's like same set list. Just like you said, that moment, like after we finished the first 3 beginning songs, and then we, take out the earphones. Yeah. And then we just we're fucking back. It's like that's like everybody shouting out. At that moment, that's when I really gets all the nerves. And there's a different me persona for the next 2.5 hours. But before that, from the rehearsal and even in the plane, I got really nervous and so responsible because I really am aware of the stories that fans buy the tickets and they come from Brazil, from Japan, Korea, from everywhere. They just come there for just that one night. So it feels me like I have to pay back, I have to give them, I have to offer them the best night ever in their lives. So it's a mess and it's a too much energy. But I'm a human and I really get nervous and I really sometimes get depressed by and even get swallowed by all the energies. But I'm trying and I try to deal with it because I'm a human and I love the music. I love their love because I think love is really happening when we give somebody, not we receive. We take. Yeah. So I think it's more closer to the real love, I guess, personally. So I just want to give them back. They brought us from just a small city in Korea all the way back to the heart of this music industry, Las Vegas, LA, New York. Me having an interview with Pharrell, it could happen because of fans all over the world. I'm just always grateful, and I just don't want to disappoint them. How do you position yourself? You're a producer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you may be a rapper. You may be a singer. Yeah. You may be a CEO. Yeah. Father. Yeah. A husband. Yeah.
A father, a husband. And then music is like everything for me because music's the skeleton key that's opened up every door for me to do. And then I definitely have my struggles with having a lack of a sense of purpose, I think.
When?
Right around 2005, when I put out In My Mind.
In My Mind.
I just felt like,
Right after that?
As soon as it didn't do what I wanted it to do, I mean, culturally, it made an impression. But it didn't do it egotistically. It didn't perform the way I wanted it to, chart-wise. It just didn't do what I was used to at that time, and that really hit me hard. So that made me start to think about purpose and things having real, true DNA and not just aesthetic perversion, but real, true, meaning and something that could be meaningful to people, but at the same time still fun and understand what that is. I know what it's like to hit that place in your career. And for whatever reason, and you guys are doing fine, but I think, from what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, you guys hit a place where you were like, what are we doing? Who are we? Are we who we said we were? Right. And as you think about who you are and you think about what you mean and what your intentions are, it's also kind of determining who you want to be. I mean, how's that feel? Where are you in that process right now? Because you're working on a solo record, right?
Yes, 90% of the work is done. Okay. I've released some mixtape as one of the member of the band, but I think it was just like experiments. I think this time it's maybe my official first solo album. Okay. It's been just 10 years after we had our debut as a team. So K-pop is all about the band and the groups. And actually, I told you, I personally started my career as a rapper. Mm-hmm. and as a poet.
Yeah.
So that was a tricky part actually, because the K-pop is like a mix.
Yeah.
It's like the mix of American pop music, all the visuals and the choreos and social medias and stuff. It's really intense and really hectic. So it has some pros and cons of its own. So after 10 years, I think it was not our intention, but we took it. But we actually became a sort of a social figure. So a K-pop band going to have a speech at the UN, or meeting the presidents. It's like I think I was really confused that I'm what am I, like a diplomat or what? So
yeah.
I was just a small rapper and lyricist when I was young, like from the scratch. So it was 10 years really intense as a team, and I actually was in charge like almost all of the interviews and representing the team like in front of the other members. That was my stuff, I guess, role.
Yeah.
So I think I got really I don't know, like, I gotta stop this for a bit. Yeah. I gotta shut it down and just fall from it away, and then just see what's going on. Making my mind really calm down.
Yeah.
And then I think so that's how I got to concentrate on my just solo. And these days I really have been thinking about the 15 when I first listened to you. The first feeling and the vibe and the reason why I started, why I chose music to for my whole life. When I started my music, I was like 14, and now I'm like 28. So it's like just the half. It's like it's like way shorter than you. So I'm in that process. So it's really tricky and confusing, and I just don't know what's going to happen. So if you could give me any advices, because you were in the band, and you are in the band, and you done the band. It's different from the K-pop, but you've done a lot of projects, like of course NERD, Neptunes, and of course your solo. Yeah. So, like any thoughts about
being in the Neptunes, being in NERD, and having a solo record really helped me, because it you do one thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then
switch
you take
modes.
A break. Yeah, and it allows me to like put on different hats and put on different masks. So I understand that, and I know like having that departure is gonna make it really fresh for you. I think it's good for you to do that, because then when you come back to it, to the group,
team.
I think it's gonna be to the team. I think it's gonna be super fresh. You're gonna have a whole lot of ideas. I would just say continue to move forward. Continue to be curious, and don't put any kind of necessary pressure on what it is that you do by saying, no absolutes, like, oh, I will never do music again, or I will never, I wouldn't do any of that. I would just...
No nevers.
No nevers. Just stay along for the ride. Just keep going.
Cruising.
Yeah, and just see where you end up, because it's really interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a bless.
Pleasure's mine.